going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. It is episode 319, part number 2 for your Saturday, March 28th, 2020. We have a lot to go over. We got some more fallout from the Roman Reigns pulling himself out of WrestleMania 36 and his match with Bill Goldberg being canceled. I got news that The Miz now has backstage heat in WWE for showing up sick to the WWE tapings this past weekend and showing up sick to the Performance Center. CM Punk. Everybody wants CM Punk back in the WWE. Apparently, Vince McMahon wants nothing to do with CM Punk. Apparently, Punk's agent reached out to Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon stated that he would never do business with CM Punk ever again. Also, Braun Strowman. You guys know I am not a Braun Strowman fan whatsoever. He apparently is now incredibly sorry for his comments about indie wrestling and the indie workers in and around the industry. We are going to go in again on Braun Strowman. And if the rumors and news are correct about Braun Strowman being in the main event with Bill Goldberg at WrestleMania 36, why Braun Strowman is not the right choice to lead SmackDown on Fox simply because of the comments that he made on the rest of the industry. Thank you guys so very much for joining me here on the podcast. Lots to go over, like I said. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you guys go check out Off the Script from yesterday. Unbelievable episode, man. The interaction and the comments and the feedback and everything coming out of that video was one of the best of the entire year for Off the Script. So make sure you guys go and do that. Link is down below for that video on top of SmackDown, AEW, some video game content, Monday Night Raw. Everything that I did all week is wrapped up nicely down below in the description. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell for all notifications. We are dangerously close to 116,000 subscribers, so thank you guys so very much for all of that. If you want to show some extra appreciation for the show, Patreon is always open, patreon.com/JDfromNY206. And today's podcast is brought to you by my good friends over at Tavour. Turn your fridge into the best craft beer bar around. It's very simple, folks. You're going to download the app on the Apple Store or Google Play. It is absolutely free. Download the app. Get access to hard-to-find 100% independent craft beer from all across the United States, because you do know they're an essential business, so support all of the independent businesses in the craft beer world. Craft beer from across the United States. New beers are shared every single day. You can discover your beer, build your own custom box of the beers you love, or enroll in a subscription, and they will automatically snag the highest rated beers that suit your taste profile. Absolutely no commitment, absolutely no minimums, and they deliver right to you. Ship any amount of your hand-picked beer to your doorstep for a flat fee, or ship for free when you sign up using a subscription. You guys can get money off if you want a subscription using my code SCRIPT at checkout. Any orders over $25 will automatically get $10 off your purchase, man. If you love craft beer like I do, please go out and support your local independent craft beer breweries during this difficult time. There's no better way to do that than Tavour. Link will be down in the description of this very video if you guys want more information on Tavour. Use that code SCRIPT for $10 off an order of $25 or more. And I want to thank you guys, and I want to thank them for supporting Off the Script. All right, man, let's start off with this story. CM Punk. If you're a fan of CM Punk, I'm right there along with you. I love me some Phil Brooks. Haven't watched WWE Backstage because I don't really think in the grand scheme of things, he really makes much of a difference. And I honestly think after we seen him come back in that capacity, I really do think that him coming back in that role has kind of diminished what a comeback in pro wrestling could be. Now, CM Punk, his name is in the news this week. His agent reached out to Vince McMahon, and this is what Vince McMahon stated about CM Punk. Dave Meltzer reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that Vince McMahon has labeled Punk as the one man I just can't do business with. It was said that nobody at the top level in WWE, including Paul Heyman, has argued against this, and they have not pushed for Vince to sign Punk. It was noted in the Observer that Punk's agent did try to open up a conversation with WWE and was turned down. Another thing noting is that WWE is no longer mentioning Punk on their shows, and they don't even plug WWE backstage anymore. I guess they do, but they don't really do anything with CM Punk. They don't really mention CM Punk in any capacity. So when they do promote WWE backstage, and it's a week that he's on, they promote everybody, including the guest, except for CM Punk. That may have to do with Punk's jabs at the company on social media. Remember, a couple of months back, he made a mention about The Miz and sucking Saudi Arabian dick for blood money or something like that, which was very funny and truthful, by the way. Punk's gig on WWE Backstage was done through Fox Sports, and WWE gave their blessing as a concession to not make waves in their relationship with the network, since Fox is paying so much for the rights to air SmackDown on Fox. Punk's role on Backstage is limited to just one show per month. Even people in the company who would say that a one-time appearance at WrestleMania would be good business have said that Punk has devalued himself with his wrestling comeback happening on Backstage with a fraction of the viewers that WWE shows draw. Rather than holding out on a big appearance on WWE TV, he drew an above-average rating for his first appearance on Backstage, but there were no more big ratings jumps after that first week. In the wrestling industry, the old saying is never say never, but right now there is said to be no interest in CM Punk. You know what I would do if I'm Phil Brooks? You know what I would do? I would give good old Tony Khan a call. If I'm CM Punk and I caught wind of Vince McMahon saying, well, I can't do business with CM Punk. Can't do business with CM Punk, though, right? I'll tell you who can do business with CM Punk and would be ready, willing, and able to do business with CM Punk. That is Tony Khan. If you guys remember back when Tony Khan was coming up with a vision about what a roster would look like, fantasy roster in AEW, the first name on his list was Phil Brooks, CM Punk. And I find it to be incredibly hypocritical, and this is why I refer to Vince McMahon as a senile old motherfucker. Okay? This guy cannot do business with CM Punk. This guy is the same guy that went on Stone Cold's podcast all those years ago. And Stone Cold asked the question on the WWE Network in its first inception, would you be willing to do business with CM Punk? And obviously Vince McMahon said, yeah, of course I would. Of course I would do business with CM Punk. Now, all of a sudden, things have changed. So why can't CM Punk work for Fox and then work for AEW? I pray to the wrestling gods when things get back to normal, and if CM Punk wants to be in pro wrestling, that he shows up on AEW television. That would be hilarious. If he worked for AEW and then did his gig with Fox on WWE Backstage. It's funny how Vince McMahon makes everybody else seem like a fucking senile, just lunatic. It's crazy. This is the same guy that, or his cronies, his gang of fucking bandits, you know, these people, these suits on Vince McMahon's team, they're all upset at Brody Lee for what he did or what he has done on AEW Dynamite. You're not the first senile old man that never seen anything in me, but you will certainly be the last, Christopher Daniels. And then the entire skit with Brody Lee eating a steak. That is in direct reference to Vince McMahon eating at Morton's Steakhouse and how he enjoys eating first before everybody else gets their meal and finishes. He doesn't want anybody finishing before him. And then Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order sneezing. And then Brody Lee kicks out Alex Reynolds from the restaurant or kicks him out of the dinner table. It's all in reference to Vince McMahon. Higher-ups were upset at Brody Lee for these little Vince McMahon-isms on AEW. Who the fuck are you, Mr. McMahon? Who the fuck are these idiots stroking Vince McMahon's cock, tickling his balls? Who are these people? How do they have a right to be upset at Brody Lee? How do they have a right to be upset with CM Punk? Oh, I can't do business with CM Punk. Motherfucker, you fired him on his wedding day. You fired him on his wedding day. And you want to go out there publicly and say, I can't do business with him? Brody Lee has no right to get one back at you? Go listen to the interview with Brody Lee on Talk Is Junk. I'm going to look it up right here because it is utterly ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous what Brody Lee had to say on Vince McMahon. This is what he said. I think the way I do talk, Vince doesn't see a person that looks like me talking like me. I don't think he can get over that. He saw a backwards hillbilly who talked in a southern drawl from being in Rochester, New York, and being somewhat eloquent. He didn't understand that. It just didn't compute with him. Arn Anderson, I think, was maybe to the detriment, was my biggest supporter in meetings. And Arn would say, hey, man, I'm just going to stop speaking up for you because I don't think it's doing you any favors. I had my supporters, but not vocal ones, not ones that were willing to go to bat for me at that point. Once I fell into a role, no matter what I pitched, no matter what I showed anybody, I wasn't digging my way out of it to the audience of one. And then Brody Lee, he told Vince, I don't see a guy like me from Rochester, New York, the way I speak, doing a Southern accent. And Vince tried to get him to do a Southern accent in front of him. And Brody Lee did the Southern accent. And then Vince says, well, I don't think that's going to work. And then the very next week, he shows up to work and he looks at the script and there's a role for him on the show. And Vince puts in the script for Brody Lee to come out, I guess as Luke Harper or doing something. I don't know if he was with Eric Rowan or not, or maybe he was by himself. And Vince McMahon put in the script that he wanted him to do a Southern accent. Just a week prior, Vince told him, well, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's going to work. And Vince did not give this guy a brand. He didn't give this guy a role. He didn't give this guy any type of treatment on the main roster whatsoever. But he buried him because he couldn't do a Southern accent. This is a guy that should have been in the WWE Championship title picture during WrestleMania 33. This is a guy who won the Intercontinental Championship and didn't get a solid win under his belt as champion. He didn't get one clean victory. Not one. He even said it himself. I don't think I was made to look good as the Intercontinental Champion at all. I didn't get a big win while holding that title. This guy was buried, embarrassed, made to look inferior. His skills were not being used yet. He had everything to give Vince McMahon, wanted to give Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon buried this guy. It's okay for Vince McMahon to fucking bury everybody that he doesn't like on the roster. It's okay when they have a contract expiring, like Matt Hardy and like the Revival, to bury them or not pay them. But it's not okay to make fun of Vince McMahon after this guy has done 10 times as worse to you? Hypocrites. Fucking ridiculous, man. Vince McMahon is as evil as everyone makes him out to be. The stories are legit, folks. They are legit. Luke Harper, Brody Lee, gonna do fine in AEW. If I'm CM Punk and I hear that news, soon as everything gets back to normal, hey, yo, Tony, what are you doing for All Out in Chicago? Let me come through. That would be the biggest fucking circus of the entire year. Bigger than WrestleMania. Punk shows up in AEW while being a contracted Fox employee working on WWE backstage. I'm all for that. Want to get a way to get back at Vince McMahon? There you go. There you go. Can't work with me? There's another billionaire. Actually, there is a legit billionaire, because Vince ain't a billionaire anymore. There's a legit billionaire that wants to give me a role. That will work with me, motherfucker. Love it. That's the way I would go about it, but that's what Vince McMahon said about CM Punk when CM Punk's agent reached out to see how interested WWE was actually, I guess, invested in working with CM Punk. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Speaking of investing, ESPN is not investing in WWE. Back in February, Vince McMahon shocked the wrestling world on an investors call when he said WWE was considering strategic alternatives to the WWE Network. It was clear that McMahon was considering the idea of selling some of WWE's biggest pay-per-views to other streaming services such as the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. On that call, Vince McMahon himself set a deadline for such an announcement by the end of the first quarter. Vince, your timeline, your deadline is up, bitch. What do I see? I see us coming to the end of the first quarter. And what are we getting? We're getting a subpar fucking house show called WrestleMania inside an empty warehouse with no fans. Oh my God, man. It's like a fucking comedy show right before our very eyes. Now, the implication was that if such a significant deal was to happen, it would have finished in time to be in place for WrestleMania 36. Well, we are here, and WrestleMania 36 is just a week and some days away, and no such deal has been announced or even hinted at. Not only is there no deal, but WrestleMania 36 is in a massive downfall. People dropping out left and right, matches changing left and right, up and down the card, in the midst of a pandemic worldwide. Empty venue inside the Performance Center. As a consequence of this situation, as well as uncertainty surrounding Mr. McMahon's motivation to suddenly sell a bunch of his stock this week, the business world is not so fond of WWE right now. This is a summary from Yahoo Finance, and I quote, McMahon, during the company's last earnings call, said the pro wrestling giant was weighing options for its WWE Network streaming service. And it now looks like a transformative deal is not occurring. Alan Gould, an analyst at Loop Capital, said he told clients in a downgrade note to sell from hold. Gould slashed his price target from $30 to $30 a share, all the way from what Vince McMahon thinks it was. It was about $60 per share. Up from that, it was $100 per share. Gould slashed his price target by $13 to a street low of $30 per share. With McMahon at the helm, WWE has rattled investor confidence to its core after ousting two of its top executives and wiping out more than $2 billion of the company's market value since the beginning of the year. Dave Meltzer offered his thoughts on the situation on Wrestling Observer Live. Their belief is the deal is dead. Alan Gould said the transformative deal that they were looking to sell does not look like it's going to happen. The word that I had is that they were far apart on money, but not that it was dead by any means. Him saying that and enough that it downgrades the stock and WWE not coming out and disagreeing, that says something. Meltzer also expressed some concern regarding Vince McMahon's stock transaction from this week. Given the current state of the market and WWE's guaranteed TV deals for huge money make it a strange time to sell. He got money He got the money for 2.26 million shares. Essentially, he got $86 million for what it is worth, about $117 million, but he would get the cash now. The actual trade takes place in 4 years, which is really weird and scary, and I don't understand it. Why he needed $86 million in cash now, and to make that kind of deal now, I don't have the answer. If you have the cash on hand, why would you want to sell this week? There's something missing in this story. I don't know what it is. If UFC had done this, I would understand because UFC is cash poor. WWE is not cash poor. That's what Dave Meltzer said. What it boils down to is this. McMahon fired two of his most important executives earlier this year with only a very vague explanation to support that decision, but he maintained a business outlook by putting forth his idea of this transformative business deal with a major streaming service. The deal is not going to happen, and it's less clear that Vince McMahon made a sound business decision in firing George Barrios and Michelle Wilson. When that is combined with Vince's stock decision from this week, the business world is not responding well to WWE right now. I don't know what business transaction Vince McMahon made. I don't know the inner workings of it. It's not my business to talk about it. I will not talk about it because I just don't understand it. If you guys have any insight on that, please share it down in the comments below. But he needed $86 million in cash now, and to make that kind of deal now, Dave Meltzer didn't have the answer. The only logical thing I can come up with is, what did he need the money now for? Maybe XFL. I don't really understand why he needed the $86 million now outside of the XFL. Maybe it's XFL spending. Maybe it's reasons that we don't know for the XFL. I don't know. Is WWE in trouble? Absolutely. This Wrestlemania thing seems to be just leading a huge spiral downfall for WWE, and they cannot control what is going on. It is still amazing to me, without the Saudi Arabian deal, without the TV deals in the current situation that they're in right now, without those mega TV deals, WWE better be counting their blessings every time they go to sleep at night. If those TV deals were half of what they were, and they didn't have any Saudi Arabian deal, WWE might not even be here right now. The WWE will possibly be gone if not for these TV deals and the Saudi Arabian deal. Like that. It's unbelievable. They would be out of work. Every one of these men and women would be out of work. I would be out of work. It's crazy. I hope Vince McMahon knows what the fuck he's doing. We're all waiting here. And what he does is directly affecting us. What am I going to talk about? I'll find something to talk about. But my God, man, WWE is in a shitstorm that I don't think is going to fix itself by the end of the year. I feel like it's going to continue to get worse for WWE. And this WrestleMania thing is really throwing people for a loop. It really is. This WrestleMania thing is just, it's leading the charge as to everybody just falling out of love and not wanting to invest in WWE whatsoever. It really is. They handle everything just unbelievably poor. $86 million. We'll find out what happens in the next 4 years. Don't know why. I'm going to say it's XFL reasons, and that's the only excuse I got in Vince McMahon's story for the $86 million. WWE pay-per-view price for WrestleMania 36. I don't know who is buying pay-per-view. I really don't. If you are still buying traditional pay-per-view, you might be of a different species, really. You might be the dumbest fuck I have possibly ever come across. Literally paying for legitimate, old-fashioned pay-per-view for a show like that at those prices, bro. $9.99, and they're giving it away for free. The entire network during the lockdown is free. Do yourself a favor and use your brain. WWE made WrestleMania 36 a 2-night event. This is obviously going to change how fans watch the show. It will also alter how the event is ordered. During Wrestling Observer Live, Dave Meltzer explained how ordering WrestleMania will be this year for fans who still use traditional pay-per-view means. Since WrestleMania is now a 2-day event, that creates an issue the company has never had before. It's going to be a very different year for the cable companies with WrestleMania, because literally they were told when we were told about WrestleMania being a 2-day event. It was just a couple of days ago, hey, you've got 2 shows. The idea is that you would price the 2 shows combined what the original price was going to be. So are you going to be able to order $37 individually? In some places, yes. In some places, no. Some places you're going to have to pay once and get both shows on Saturday and Sunday. So you're going to have to pay in some places for Sunday on the day that you order the show. So you will have to pay for Sunday before Sunday even happens. At this point, it's far along in the, process to announce that WWE has sold the streaming rights to WrestleMania. It's too far along to announce that WWE has sold the streaming rights to WrestleMania. They were certainly looking to unload those rights at a certain point. Vince McMahon was even confident in a deal, like I said just a little bit ago, that he wanted this to be done in the first quarter of 2020. Meltzer mentioned on Wrestling Observer Live that WWE shouldn't expect any kind of WrestleMania bump this year. In network subscriptions, he stated that this year might see a decline. The world is dealing with an awful pandemic. A lot of people are out of work right now, so they must cut the way they spend. The WWE Network is only $9.99 a month, but that could mean a difference for someone without a paycheck coming in. WWE usually leans on WrestleMania to see a spike in network subscriptions. It's not likely that they will have those numbers to point out during their next quarterly investor meeting. During Wrestling Observer Live, Meltzer also discussed the WrestleMania card. He mentioned that only one match WWE had booked since November was Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler. He went on to say that the match was booked for several months, if not a year. WWE used to practically have the entire top half of the WrestleMania card booked by November or December. This year, they were stacking the card much later in the game, which is pathetic for a company like WWE for an event like WrestleMania. Shows you how chaotic Vince has everything going on behind the scenes, and it's pretty sad that the leading brand in the industry is this lazy when it comes to their biggest show of the year. Absolutely. I said this yesterday. The show should be laid out, or at least conceived, by SummerSlam. Should be written in pencil by Survivor Series. By the end of the Royal Rumble, it should be in pen, and after the Royal Rumble, you sign that card in blood. There's no way around it. It goes through 4 stages. They went through stage 1, 2, 3, and 4 in March. Outside of, obviously, Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. Unbelievable. Goldberg wasn't even on the show. He was not even on the show going into February. Absolutely pathetic. He stated that Drew McIntyre wasn't even a lock to face Brock Lesnar. It was supposed to be either McIntyre or Aleister Black. He stated that Roman Reigns was supposed to win the Royal Rumble match, with McIntyre or Black winning the title opportunity in the Elimination Chamber. Of course, this year saw no men's Elimination Chamber match, just a Raw Women's Elimination Chamber match. Even John Cena was originally slated to face Elias. Goldberg only had 3 weeks to prepare for his WWE return, so that was short notice as well. Now the WrestleMania card looks nothing close to how it was originally booked, and we will go over what is booked, so don't go anywhere. There are a few big matches booked for WrestleMania 36. Obviously, things are changing, and I have the full card here on Off the Script, so you're going to be very surprised as to what the card looks like now after the tapings this week. Now, I don't know why you're paying for traditional pay-per-view. Subscribe to the network, please. Why? Subscribe to the network. They're literally giving you free access to the WWE Network. Literally everything on the $9.99 tier that you're paying. There's no other tiers. You either get, the free access for the month, and then you got to re-up. They're giving you literally, during this entire lockdown, they're giving you a free access to the WWE Network. So many had assumed the reason for this was a goodwill gesture during this period of self-isolation we're all currently experiencing, and that was confirmed by Mike Johnson of PW Insider. Really? Is that the only reason why WWE is giving it away for free? Johnson said it was done to give those who are social distancing and being responsible during the pandemic something more so that they can pass the time. If you missed the original announcement on WWE.com, this is it, and I quote, "Beginning today, WWE is pleased to unlock a vast portion of the WWE Network library and extend free access to thousands of hours of extraordinary on-demand content, including every WrestleMania in history, countless pay-per-view spectaculars, original documentaries, and more for a limited time. This unprecedented offer to WWE fans worldwide includes such epic installments to date of WrestleMania." Yes, epic installments of WrestleMania. Plus every Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series events. Obviously, with them being listed, you can tell where they wanted to go as far as what shows to sell during all this nonsense back and forth. Which pay-per-views are we going to sell to ESPN? There you go. All the big ones. Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and WrestleMania. Every NXT takeover, every NXT UK takeover, and groundbreaking originals such as the entire WWE 24 documentaries, Stone Cold's Broken Skull Sessions, the recent 5-episode hit of Stone Cold's Broken Skull Sessions, WWE Ruthless Aggression, and its 20-episode predecessor, the Monday Night War series. Also included, recent episodes of Monday Night Raw, like that's a fucking, oh my God, I gotta go subscribe to watch the recent episodes of Monday Night Raw. Give me a break. Recent episodes of SmackDown. So if you want to laugh, there you go. Recent episodes of NXT, NXT UK, 205 Live, every Worlds Collide special, complete Mae Young Classic Tournament special, every episode of WWE Untold, every episode of WWE Chronicle, a future WWE, the FCW story, and much, much more. They forgot the Cruiserweight Classic, which was awesome. So that is what WWE is offering, and it's funny how they listed this is being done to give those who are social distancing and being responsible during the pandemic something more they can do to pass the time. Really? That's the only reason, McMahon, right? Or is it you want to give the network away for free and you really want to push the free network during this time so that when you have your quarterly conference call with the investors, you can boast and be very vague about the network subscriptions? Oh, well, we've seen an increase of 15% in WWE Network subscriptions. How many of those are paying customers? That's what I would like you to tell the fucking investors wanting to know the analytics of what's going on. How many of those are paying customers? How many of them are getting the network for free? The network has been treated like a complete afterthought. It's just there. The network at this point just exists. They're not treating it as anything special. They're not treating it as the backbone of WWE. It's just there. They don't even push it in the proper way. They don't hype it up. They don't push it. I remember when WWE used to do nothing but push the WWE Network. Now it's like pulling teeth for them to push the WWE Network. But is it just based solely on the fact that people are abiding by the social distancing rules to give them something more to keep them home? No. No, it's not. It's for Vince at the end of the day during WrestleMania season, because everybody, it's not going to be an increase in subscriber numbers during WrestleMania season. Of course it is. Everybody at this point, not hyped for WrestleMania. People are going to tune into WrestleMania out of sheer curiosity at this point. They're not watching WrestleMania to watch and enjoy. They're watching to mock, laugh, point, and criticize at this point out of sheer curiosity. That's what we're all looking forward to now, because this card is in shambles. Absolute shambles. But the fact that they said it's not going to bring the WWE a increased number, it's laughable. Of course it is. Of course it is. They're down. Of course they're going to show increase during the next conference call. They're doing it because they want to push the numbers for the network. They want to do it during WrestleMania season. They're not stupid. They're giving you the obvious agenda that the national news is pushing. You got to do social distancing. You got to remain 6 feet apart. Social distancing, this and that. That's why they're doing it, to get their numbers up, not social distancing. Speaking about getting their numbers up, Fox Sports is set to air the full WWE Royal Rumble 2020 events. And this has been reported this week That WWE, being that they have a few partners in television and everyone needs content right now, especially Fox Sports and ESPN, it makes the WWE seem like an attractive company to work with because they have so much content. They have content going out there weekly, whereas everybody else is out of business right now. They're out of commission. They've stopped operations. And this is why I went back and said Vince McMahon a couple of weeks ago is acting like God. He wants to be above everything and everybody. He wants to be above what's going on in the world today. And he wants to be looked at as some sort of savior. Because while everybody else is shut down, there is Vince McMahon, high and almighty Vince McMahon, the only one defying the odds and still producing live television. But being that WWE has all of this content, it makes sense for an ESPN and a Fox Sports to maybe grab onto some of that and put it onto their networks, whereas they have absolutely nothing going on right now. ESPN scored over 800,000 viewers, 839, I believe was the exact number, by re-airing a 6-year-old WrestleMania event last week. FS1 is about to do the same thing with the WWE. FS1 will air the 2020 Royal Rumble on Tuesday at 7 p.m., and that will go all the way to 11 p.m., and then they will replay it again at midnight. They will air the event on FS2 on Thursday from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., and that is more additional content being added to Fox during this down period, which I hope does not last as long as they say it will. Now, the 2020 Royal Rumble event is certainly a little bit more of an attractive offer to me than watching a 6-year-old WrestleMania that really, if you look at the event itself, outside of Daniel Bryan had that great match with Triple H. Daniel Bryan won the World Championship. That was pretty much the event. And then The Undertaker losing his undefeated streak at WrestleMania. That was the event. Shock and awe. And then WWE going against what they usually do and gave Daniel Bryan, someone who was looked at as a vanilla midget, won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Outside of that, WrestleMania 30 and the feel-good moment and the streak breaking was a terrible WrestleMania, just like they all are. Then they rebounded next year with WrestleMania 31, which was one of the better WrestleManias in recent memory. But the Royal Rumble, looking back at the Royal Rumble even in 2020, outside of the men's Royal Rumble match itself, which was very good, it was one of the better Rumbles of recent memory, outside of the men's Royal Rumble and Bianca Belair's performance in the women's Royal Rumble, what really was on the Royal Rumble card that made you say, oh man, I gotta go back and watch this show? They even replayed the men's Royal Rumble on Monday Night Raw to fill a 3-hour block of television. I wouldn't go back and watch it. I didn't even watch the replay on Monday Night Raw, and I just got done saying it was one of the better Royal Rumbles of recent memory. But this is what ESPN and Fox and channels like that are going to do, and it's going to get, well, WWE's not making any more money from this. With ESPN, they probably did, but Fox is already in bed with WWE, so all they have to do is snap their fingers, and WWE will be on their hands and knees, abiding by whatever Fox needs. But with ESPN, like I mentioned, when I talked about the ratings for WrestleMania 30 last week, I don't know why ESPN didn't buy the rights to the WWE documentary series like 24 and whatever they did for WrestleMania. They got some really, really, really great documentaries just going over and detailing WrestleMania, behind the scenes, what it's like to just be a WWE superstar, wake up in the morning, go to the venue, and relive all these childhood memories about, you know, watching WrestleMania as a child growing up and wanting to be a pro wrestler, aspiring to be in the business. And it would give an inside glimpse as to who Becky Lynch is, who Seth Rollins is, who Kevin Owens is, who Drew McIntyre is, or Ronda Rousey, or any of these other guys that the casual audiences don't really know or understand. That's what I didn't get. That's something I think they should have did instead of replaying a 6-year-old WrestleMania, because if you're a casual fan and you go back and you're flipping through the channels and you see, oh, WrestleMania 30, you're probably asking yourself, watching an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal or a six-pack challenge with the women, who the fuck are these people, right? Who is it, Daniel Bryan? You might not know who Daniel Bryan is. Daniel Bryan's well known in the wrestling world, but to a fucking casual amongst casuals, someone who's never watched, period, and wanting something to watch sports related, they're not going to know who Daniel Bryan or any of these guys are. So I would have liked WWE to do that and maybe pitch that to ESPN. But it's WrestleMania season, and ESPN, with the simple-minded fucking plebeians that they got working over there, hey, let me replay an old WrestleMania because it's WrestleMania season. So that's the way that they did that. Fox Sports is airing the 2020 Royal Rumble. So if you guys are interested in watching it again and don't have the network, there you go. By all means, enjoy yourself. Now, speaking of Fox and SmackDown and being in bed with WWE, is Eric Bischoff about to be in bed with WWE again? Because as soon as he was fired, man, oh man, was he sucking the cock of Bruce ever since the man was let go. Had nothing but positive, gleaming things to say about my good old buddy Bruce over on SmackDown. So Eric Bischoff returned to WWE last year. He was the executive director of SmackDown. Was not even in the chair for about a good 5 minutes. Wasn't even there for a cup of coffee. And if he was there for a cup of coffee, they didn't even allow his coffee to get room temperature. This guy was ousted immediately. Short-lived WWE reunion. Bischoff was fired about 3 months after starting as executive director on Friday Night SmackDown. There apparently is no bad blood. There's no bad blood there. Now, I don't know why there wouldn't be. Bischoff has to know, and everybody in the fucking industry knows that this guy was hired just simply to be fired. That was a position that no matter who took that position, you were doomed to fail. You were absolutely doomed to fail from the conception of that position of executive director. Bischoff went in there, didn't even get to work with anybody. I heard all of these excuses. Oh, he was lazy. Oh, he's always hanging around and catering. I mean, Titus is a fantastic chef, so I don't even blame Bischoff at that. But he didn't know anybody's name. He didn't get to know anybody. It was like the story was fucking completely fabricated. Like they simply used his name as this entity to fill this role, to ultimately get it out to the general public. Yeah, we hired him. Look, we're making changes. They hired Bischoff to show the fucking stockholders and the investors, hey, look, we're open to change. We're making active changes. Things are going to get better. Look, we got one of the best minds in the business. And then when things started to go wrong, goodbye, Mr. Bischoff. Goodbye. We don't need you anymore. Go back and contemplate what you did 25 years ago with the New World Order. Then he went back to Montana or wherever the fuck he lives, shooting deer and hanging out with his wife and dog in the fucking mountains, doing his podcast with Conrad, 83 weeks. All the while sucking the cock of Bruce after he was let go. So Fightful is reporting that they heard WWE is looking and open to working with Bischoff again, and that there is no ill will held towards Bischoff. Oh, really? Why is that? Because you realize that no matter who is in that position, the SmackDown ratings were never going to be what you dreamt them to be. Maybe you think that Bischoff would have been better in that role instead of my good old buddy Bruce. Because Bruce ain't doing a good job. Even before the pandemic hit, SmackDown was fucking terrible. It was one of the worst shows. In fact, it is the worst show on national television. I don't think there is anything worse than SmackDown on Fox. On a good evening, it is downright abysmal television on a Friday night. Awful. There's no way that you could possibly sell me on Bischoff doing worse or as bad as Bruce Pritchard. No matter who was in that position, they were doomed to fail. The company has a few endeavors on the horizon where fans could see Eric Bischoff pop up again. WWE doesn't hold any ill will towards Eric Bischoff following his departure from the company a few months ago. They might not hold any ill will towards him, but if I was Bischoff, I would hold ill will towards the fucking company, using my name and embarrassing me like that when I didn't even get into the fucking position to show you what I could do. I would hold ill will. I wouldn't want to work with these fucking clowns anymore. So they said that they're open to working with Bischoff again on the digital end of things, and that he's been good to deal with in the limited interaction that they've had. Oh, yeah, he's been good to deal with in the 1 or 2 times out of the last 10 years that they've interacted with Eric Bischoff. Okay, sure. So the old motto is never say never in the world of pro wrestling, but Eric Bischoff might end up back working with the WWE. I hope not. Stick to your 83 weeks and stay far away from Bruce. He ain't doing a good job. His failures will come upon you, and then you'll both be in the same fucking boat. Happily ever after. Braun Strowman. Talk about a fucking clown. Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman is now incredibly sorry for the comments that he made about indie wrestlers and indie wrestling in general. Now, I blasted this guy on last week's SmackDown review. Absolutely torched this guy's ass as if I was playing Doom and I was flamethrowing fucking Hell Barons and Imps. Seriously. This guy was fucking roasted. He blocked literally all of Twitter. All of Twitter because he knew that he fucked up and he couldn't handle the heat in the kitchen. So he ended up blocking everybody, which, you know, is a nice little tactic of mine when you want to wish me death and wish me the virus and fucking you want to dance on my grave and piss on my fucking tombstone, whatever the fuck these trolls are saying on social media. It's a great way to get rid of that shit. But this guy was blocking people legitimately because of a fucking mistake that he made. And then he ended up deleting the tweet anyway. So Braun Strowman not only is an intelligent fucking hick, but he's fucking one of those guys that just generally doesn't know how to use Twitter. He doesn't know how to use Twitter. Last weekend, the heat on Braun Strowman came down on him for his comments on independent pro wrestling and independent wrestlers who are struggling financially due to the outbreak since they are losing out on money because of all the canceled shows. Social distancing, folks. Social distancing. Now, his comments didn't sit well with fans and many people in and around the wrestling business. It all started when AEW star Evil Uno of the Dark Order asked fans to support their favorite wrestlers if they are financially able to. Uno wrote, "In the wake of all these cancellations, support the independents, be it wrestling, music, etc. Buy their merch, support them through Patreon, share their stuff. The gig economy is going to take a huge hit, and many don't have the safety net necessary to survive all of this." End quote. So Evil Uno, being a class act, as a heel, breaking character somewhat, well, maybe not totally, but he's actually acting like a civilized human being. And he didn't say anything wrong whatsoever. He didn't target anybody. It was a positive tweet, an uplifting tweet where he wanted you to go out there and support maybe his friends and support those in the industry who right now are completely out of work. Strowman then responded with this message on his Instagram account. Here we go with more of the somebody pay for my bills stuff. Yes, because you weren't in that same fucking boat, you fucking giant idiot. If you can't afford to pay your bills, maybe you should change professions. I'm wondering, Strowman, where are you finding a job if you're unemployed right now due to the virus? Where are you finding a job? I'd love to know. So please, if you're so intelligent, I'd love for you to tell me where these people who are in the indies, in these wrestling promotions, I would love for you to tell me where they're going to end up finding work during all of this to make money. They got to use whatever star power they have in the industry to get by until everything gets back to normal. He goes on and says this, and I quote, "That's why I quit strongman. That's why I quit strongman. You quit strongman because WWE looked at you as a 7-foot, 400-pound strongman, and that is what Vince McMahon legitimately jerks off to at night. You are his quintessential fucking stud muffin type pro wrestler. That's why you got hired in the first place. You certainly didn't get hired for your wrestling ability. A fucking plastic bag I could get from Wawa has more skill in the ring than fucking Braun Strowman. I loved it, but I couldn't afford to live. So instead of making a GoFundMe or Patreon, wanting someone else to take care of me, I went out and worked harder than I ever worked in my entire life to get where I am." Really? All that hard work at the PC has gotten you where? I don't remember one memorable match, maybe one. And that was because it was Roman Reigns and it was, I think, a no DQ match or a last man standing match, no rules. I mean, this guy was so bad in the ring that WWE had this guy go out on every single show he was on, and every match he wrestled was a gimmick match. Why is that, folks? Because Braun Strowman can't fucking wrestle. It doesn't take a fucking skilled athlete to pick up a steel chair and start swinging it around. Doesn't take a skilled athlete to pick up another pro wrestler and throw him into a table like Braun Strowman can. So please, what hard work? What hard work? You got hired and got by because of where you came from, strongman competitions, and what you look like. That is it. You are a rarity, and the rarity of someone like you in the pro wrestling business at your size, at your weight, at your strength is why you got hired. What hard work? You look like a giant fucking fool. That's why you got hired. While somebody like a Johnny Gargano or somebody on the indies, a Pete Dunne, or one of these skilled wrestlers that dedicates their fucking life to perfecting this art known as pro wrestling, they'll get looked down upon for being too small, not strong enough, not tall enough, not big enough, take some more HGH, inject yourself with more steroids, blah, 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 gain some more weight. All the fucking struggles and hurdles that those people have to go through. I don't think you've experienced not even 1/10 of what those types of guys went through. All the negativity that came their way, all of the rejection that they probably went through. Ricochet detailed that he got turned down by WWE. What was it, 3 or 4 different fucking times before they hired him? What, are you fucking serious? Now, Ricochet might be in a bad state right now, but that doesn't mean Ricochet is not a fucking amazing pro wrestler. Braun Strowman was hired because of what Braun Strowman looks like. So he goes on to finish saying, what happened to me? Well, what happened to being accountable for your own actions? Accountable for your... Yes, because these pro wrestlers, they wish for the virus to fucking just overtake the United States, right? And they wish to be out of work, right? Look at how fucking stupid this guy is. Being accountable for your own actions. Yes, the indie pro wrestling world caused the fucking virus going around. For anybody that goes, that's easy for you to say. You're a WWE superstar. Just an FYI, 7 years ago, I moved to Florida with everything, and I owned a Kia Soul with $150 to my name when I started this. End quote. Yes. Act and sound like a complete fucking blithering idiot and then try and make one sentence in this entire fucking message that you spewed on Instagram and try to gain some sympathy from the people listening to you or reading your Instagram wall post. Yeah, sure, that's a great job there, Strowman. Act like a fucking idiot and then and then you're thinking, well, let me try and get some sympathy and really throw out a sob story out there to close this thing out. Dave Meltzer noted in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that friends in WWE of Braun Strowman talked to Strowman about what he said, and now he regrets saying what he did. Oh, really? So everybody that came down on you, they were right, but you ended up blocking them anyway. Now, you can keep me blocked for all I fucking care. Your Instagram and Twitter account mean nothing to me. There's nothing of relevancy coming out of your Twitter account. I don't give a fuck what you say or what you post, right? Get these hands, right? Yeah, and you can run fast. I was told that Strowman apologized for his comments, says Meltzer. I don't know if Strowman reached out directly to Evil Uno. Well, he should to apologize, but he deleted his comments on the story. End quote. Great. So deleting the comments shows how fucking wrong he was. He blocked everybody because he knew that everybody was right, and he acted like a fucking coward. You know, typical. He runs fast, and he ran away from all the heat that came upon him for his stupid comments. And this is the guy, reportedly. This is the guy that WWE is going with as a replacement for Roman Reigns at WrestleMania against Bill Goldberg. This man more than likely will end up being the new Universal Champion on SmackDown on Fox. I don't understand why you would reward someone who clearly shit on the business. Shit on everybody underneath him, and now we're supposed to look at him as a deserving Universal Champion. We're going to reward somebody who clearly does not respect the business. You're going to give this guy even more of a platform. You're going to give this guy even more of an ego by giving him the Universal Championship, and it's going to further prove to him that he is better than everybody else, and in reality, he is not worth the fucking gum stuck on the bottom of my fucking shoe. This guy is a complete fucking waste. Braun Strowman, I'm telling you this right now. Two things. One, if you are one of these advocates for Braun Strowman to be the Universal Champion and get the shot at Bill Goldberg, citing that there's no better replacement, you are a complete fucking idiot. I gave you 3 reasons, 3 different scenarios on Friday's show about what to do with Bill Goldberg at WrestleMania, being that Roman Reigns pulled himself out of the main event. 3. Every single fucking one of them was better than Braun Strowman. I would even go with Baron Corbin over Braun Strowman to beat Bill Goldberg. At least Corbin knows how to fucking play his role. Not good, but he knows how to play his role. And he's a better wrestler than Braun Strowman, which is not saying much. Braun Strowman, to me, if you put the title on him, where do you go? What do you expect out of a Universal Championship reign from Braun Strowman? So you mean to tell me that SmackDown has not only given us the TV that we've gotten, but now we're going back to a potential Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns feud? I don't care for that. How could you possibly be interested in that? Yet I got people telling me, oh, JD, I don't know how you could watch Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa again. What are you, fucking mental? What are you, mental? How could you even fucking complain about that? But realistically, this is where they're going. This is what they're thinking when things get back to normal. You want to see Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt? I don't. Because I know exactly what your opinion's going to be when the fucking match and the feud is over. Man, that was fucking terrible. Bray Wyatt don't deserve this. Bray Wyatt deserves much better than this shit. Give me a break. This guy is a complete fucking way. How can Braun Strowman and Bill Goldberg to you, realistically? Now, this isn't even a WrestleMania at this point. I don't even know what the fuck it is. WrestleMania and the meaning of WrestleMania this year died when they moved it out of Raymond James Stadium. Braun Strowman versus Bill Goldberg is no way, ever, in any shape or form, any year, any event, a main event pay-per-view caliber match. I'm sorry. I don't know why you would want to continuously go back to this guy and give him chance after chance after chance after chance when WWE killed this guy's fucking stock over and over and over and over again. This guy should have won the Universal Championship or WWE Championship? This guy should have won the World Championship back at the No Mercy show against Brock Lesnar. That's when he should have won the title. WWE dropped the ball. And then he got another shot after that. Dropped the ball again against Lesnar. Then WWE gave him Money in the Bank. Dropped the ball after that. Dropped it 3 fucking times. 3 fucking times. And this guy's stock was absolutely at the bottom of the barrel in the negative, in the red. Now you want to give him the World Championship again? Just based off that, I don't know why anybody would even conceive a thought of Braun Strowman being the Universal Champion. Then what the fuck has he done? What, is he just going to show up? This entire fucking WrestleMania season was built for the Universal Championship. Challenges for the Universal Championship, realistically, are going to be built off of Roman Reigns. I'm next. That's what got him a World Championship match. You can't tell me otherwise. And then Braun Strowman is what is he going to come out and say? Goldberg, I'm going to stand up for my buddy Roman Reigns, and you're going to get these hands. That's going to get him a fucking title shot? This guy just lost to Sami Zayn, who's never won a fucking match outside of the one match that he beat you in. One win in 2 years, Sami Zayn has. You lost to him. That's going to guarantee this guy a title shot? I wish people would fucking think. This company makes you and me look like a bunch of fucking fools. Nobody has the process to think about this shit. How? This guy shit on the entire fucking industry. How is that gonna make him look good? How is that gonna make WWE look good? You're gonna give this guy all the power in the world to fucking just stand by what he said even further. And then WWE is gonna make this guy their champion as if, yeah, we don't care about the fucking industry. We're giving this guy a bonus and a reward because we don't fucking care about anybody else. This is our guy. The man who shit on the entire fucking industry because of a virus that is beyond their control. Classy, WWE. You're really classy. Moving on. Backstage heat on The Miz. For what? I don't know. To be perfectly fair, The Miz has been, I guess, in the empty arena. I was thinking about this last night. I didn't even mention this on the SmackDown review because at the point I got to the main event with John Morrison and The Miz and the Usos and the New Day, I just wanted to end the review because the show sucks. The show is just fucking awful. The Miz and John Morrison in the empty arena setting, they've been more entertaining to me than they have been on the live shows with an actual audience. So they're really showing their character. I mean, I look at these guys and yes, they can be funny. They can be outgoing and charismatic. But the fact that you gave these guys the tag team championships and the first match as tag team champions, they lost. I mean, from there, I was over it. I mean, this just goes to show you what WWE thinks about Morrison, The Miz, and the tag team titles on SmackDown. They don't give a fuck about this. And Morrison ended up being dead upon arrival. He was given a very lackluster debut. This guy simply walked out of The Miz's dressing room. Oh, look, John Morrison's back. No grand entrance, no big return, nothing. Nothing for a guy that's been away for 9 years. Nothing. And then he is just on the show, and Morrison is much better than he's being presented, and he has just fallen into the WWE trap of being ordinary. There's nothing about this guy that stands out now because A, he's with The Miz. The Miz sucks. And B, he is not featured as a top guy, though he has all the potential to be a top guy. He's just like everybody else. He's just as ordinary as a Chad Gable. That's it. There's nothing special about him. He's already gotten into the mode of, I'm going to go out there and do the bare minimum. I'm going to go out there and do what, they asked me to do without adding any extra oomph or juice to his matches. It's all the same shit. You don't see nothing new from John Morrison. This guy was performing in Lucha Underground, and this guy was fucking killing it every season. That's when I really became a John Morrison, Johnny Mundo supporter. I'm like, holy shit, where the fuck was this guy in the WWE? Now he's just like everybody else. But speaking of The Miz, if you've been keeping up with the wrestling world as of late, the past 24 to 48 hours have been absolutely crazy. Roman Reigns pulling out. And by the way, there was a report by Wrestling Inc. and Raj Giri over at Wrestling Inc. I reported on the SmackDown review that Cesaro and Asuka were off of WrestleMania. They will be off of the road. They pulled themselves out of the entire taping. that was false information. So Meltzer actually said this is false. Raj Giri came out on Wrestling Inc. and apologized for the false report, and he deleted the report. So I'm sorry for reporting what he reported, because I figured it was true following all the other news that came out about Andrade and Dana Brooke and Rey Mysterio and Roman Reigns. I figured, okay, now the dominoes are falling, but Raj Giri came out and said that it was an error, and he apologized, and he promised to never let it happen again. So I want to apologize to everybody that I reported it, and it ended up being false information. But The Miz is one of those people that is taken off the road. Now, WWE has replaced Roman Reigns with Braun Strowman, supposedly. I think we'll see something on this coming go-home show for Friday next week, and we'll figure out what the storyline is there for Braun Strowman to be in the championship match against Bill Goldberg. But it's not because Reigns did not go to the Performance Center. Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Live that Reigns was at the PC for the WrestleMania tapings. Meltzer noted that the Usos were upset when they found out that The Miz was sick. The word got back to Reigns, and that is when he made the decision to pull out of everything. Meltzer says this, and I quote, Roman Reigns made the call himself. It was interesting because he was there and made the call. It had to do in some form with The Miz being sick and the Usos not being happy about it. I really don't know much else. That's really all I was told. It's a weird story because if you followed it, basic logic is that he should have stayed home. Everyone's got a risk, but his risk was high. His reward was high too, but his risk was real high. For a guy who already has enough money to live the rest of his life and take care of his kids, it was his decision, but that decision shouldn't have been put on him. I don't know who made the call, but it was an obvious call that wasn't made, so I don't know where the WWE medical system, where they went with this, and it fell through, but it really did fall through during the tapings. Now, again, this is why I immediately said, I don't tweet shit out because I'm looking for clout. I don't tweet shit out to fucking purposely trigger anybody. It's not my fault I'm more intelligent than the fucking Alexa, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Sasha fucking trolls on social media. These fucking bots, right, who have nobody to fucking talk to. They got no fucking fan base. I don't even know who the fuck they're talking to. Everybody came down on me for my opinion on this, and I had to cycle back and really express myself in yesterday's intro to Off the Script, which I think I did a fantastic job, some of which you guys said was one of the best openings that I've ever done. And I'm glad the majority of you got what I was trying to express. Now, if The Miz, I want you to think about this, if The Miz was not ill, if The Miz came to the PC, he was 100% in good health, and the Usos didn't get pissed off, would Roman Reigns still be going through with his match with Goldberg? Would WrestleMania still have Roman Reigns on the card? Absolutely. Absolutely. This man obviously stayed in Orlando. He lives in Tampa, which is nothing more than an hour drive from Orlando. Stayed in Orlando. He was amongst the roster. Social distancing, I'm sure, wasn't practiced in the WWE locker room. They're sharing the fucking ring with everybody on the roster with consecutive back-to-back tapings and 2 nights of WrestleMania. Something in which the virus lives on surfaces for about 3 or 4 different days. 3 or 4 days consecutively, right? So, if The Miz wasn't ill, Roman Reigns would undoubtedly still be on the WrestleMania card. We would not be talking about Braun Strowman versus Bill Goldberg for the Universal title. It'll still be Roman. If Roman's health was a priority, he should have been at home with his family, not competing, not doing contract signings, not in an empty performance center. If Roman's health was a priority, he would have been locked down when the rest of the United States was locking down simply because of his weakened immune system. So please, when you tell me it was simply about his health and his battle with leukemia, you, to me, look like a fucking fool who cannot conjure another additional thought in this story. You go with the baseline fucking story because that's how simple your brain works. Does The Miz have backstage heat? We don't know if The Miz was ill or not. We don't. WWE's protocol was 100 degrees, 100.4 to be exact. WWE tested everybody multiple times a day. They were trying to be on top of this. So The Miz must have came in at 100 something, and they sent him home. He was on SmackDown last night. That show was taped last weekend. They did live on Friday. That show that you seen last night was taped that next Saturday. He sounded fine to me on Friday. Now, he might have been sick. One situation is he might have been sick, and he didn't tell anybody. Because he didn't want to miss out on WrestleMania. He didn't want to miss out on being on the biggest show of the year, quote unquote. And I use that very loosely. He didn't want to miss out on whatever extra little crumbs of payday Vince was going to throw his roster for working this show. Maybe he didn't want to miss out on it. Maybe he was sick and intentionally came to work and he was selfish. We don't know. Maybe The Miz was sick and he didn't even know. Sometimes you don't know if you're carrying the virus or not. You feel okay and you could be spreading it to other people. He might not have known he was sick until WWE tested him. And then that's when the Usos got pissed off. And that's when Roman backed out. We don't know. So why would anybody have backstage heat on The Miz? The realistic option is that he sounded fine on Friday. They taped these shows on Saturday. So he might not have known he was sick. He might not know if he was sick at all. But here we are, with the Usos being mad. The Usos are still going to be on WrestleMania from what I understand. It's going to be John Morrison versus one of the Usos in a ladder match, apparently. That's what Dave Meltzer said. Now, that could change between now and next weekend. We don't know. That could change between now and next Friday on SmackDown. We don't know. But The Miz apparently has backstage heat in the WWE for showing up to the tapings. All these sets of tapings that WWE has in the can, in the vault, showed up sick. Now, Reigns' immune system is compromised because of his leukemia battle. Yes, thank you for the very simplistic route. Oh, Reigns missed WrestleMania because of his leukemia. Any fucking idiot with one follower on Twitter can have a podcast and they could give that reason. There's a reason why I'm better than most, because I give you all different viewpoints and variables. If I wanted to go with the simplistic route, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't even want to be here. Who the fuck wants to listen to somebody that says, oh, Roman Reigns, he missed WrestleMania because he has leukemia? You fucking serious? It's much more than just being leukemia. I'm not saying the leukemia is not the reason. But there's much more to this story than WWE is allowing you into. So, The Miz was ill. The Usos were upset. And they might have been upset because of Reigns being there and being on the same brand and blah, blah, blah. Him being around the Usos and the Usos then being around Reigns. It was a nightmare. He was pulled from the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, and the match, says Meltzer, will be changed to John Morrison versus Jimmy or Jay Uso. Now, who's to say John Morrison is not ill? Who's to say one of the Usos didn't give it to the other Uso? We don't know. Dominoes could start falling at any given moment. Any given moment. You know? But they got to be careful with this shit. You know, wrestlers need to speak up about this shit. This is not something that people should be playing with and toying with and fucking neglecting here. Lawsuits could happen. One guy gets sick, the entire fucking roster could get sick. You know? This is a nightmare that Vince McMahon, I'm sure, does not want on top of everything else that the guy's probably dealing with. So, they gotta handle this shit. You gotta be responsible about this shit. If you're not feeling well, they've already told you. I wouldn't trust them with anything, but they told you that if you're ill, go home. Your spot will be waiting for you when you come back. We're not going to hold you accountable for what happens here and you getting sick. So if you're sick, go the fuck home. Nobody wants to be on this show to begin with. You're not going to be making anywhere near the amount of money you would have made in front of a real WrestleMania crowd. Go the fuck home. Simple. I don't know why we're still sitting here talking about this shit. There's much more to this Reigns pulling out than just his leukemia. But this apparently was the catalyst for him pulling out of WrestleMania and not wanting to compete against Bill Goldberg. Bobby Lashley missed out on a build with Aleister Black for his WrestleMania match, and this reason has been revealed. Aleister Black squashed Mr. Ruff, Leon Ruff, from Evolve on Monday Night Raw in less than a minute. But they announced the match on Monday Night Raw, and Bobby Lashley wasn't there. So obviously, intelligent specimens like myself, we asked, well, why is this match being booked for WrestleMania if Aleister Black is on the show? Bobby Lashley is not. Aleister Black beats Leon Ruff in 1 minute or less. How does this exactly get me excited for an Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley match? What did this sequence do to push the match that you announced at WrestleMania? It did absolutely nothing. So people were asking, where is Bobby Lashley? Where was Bobby Lashley during Monday Night Raw? Meltzer reported on the Wrestling Observer newsletter that Bobby Lashley missed out on Monday Night Raw to build for his match with Aleister Black due to concerns related to the pandemic. It was noted that Lashley was slated to be on the March 16th episode of Monday Night Raw to be a part of their build for the Black-Lashley match. That clearly did not happen when he was quarantined after coming back from South Africa. He was in the country. What is he doing in South Africa, you ask? He was in South Africa the week before the episode of Raw in order to promote the WWE tour in May. So they sent him out there to promote a tour that will more than likely get canceled. Awesome. Imagine being Bobby Lashley, scared for your fucking well-being, on behalf of WWE to promote a tour that will more than likely not even go on as planned, which has now been moved to September due to the outbreak. It has been reported that this contest was taped already earlier in the week and is expected to air on the WrestleMania broadcast. As of this writing, there is no word yet on which night the match will air, with Lana being available on WWE television after filming for the Cosmic Sin sci-fi action movie with Bruce Willis in Georgia. That was put on hold. The call was to have Lashley back on the WrestleMania card. Thus, when her availability was clear, WWE made the decision to move forward with the Lashley and Black match, which has zero build. So why is it happening at WrestleMania? Why isn't this saved for the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania? You want to know what else people criticize me on that now obvious to everybody is clear as day? Everybody thought I was, well, why are you complaining? Why are you complaining? This guy is a fucking asshole. People say I complain when I mention the fact that Aleister Black was buried by the OC, pinned by the OC. I wouldn't use the term buried. I mean, he beat Gallows, he beat Anderson, and he had to run the gauntlet of the OC, the OL, the official losers, ultimately falling to AJ Styles, while AJ Styles pinned Aleister Black in a similar fashion in the way The Undertaker pins his opponent after the tombstone. Crosses the arms, does the hair, does the eyes. He mocked The Undertaker by pinning Aleister Black. The first time Black has been pinned clean on Monday Night Raw. I said, well, that's nice. Now, unless Aleister Black is added to this entire AJ Styles and Undertaker feud at WrestleMania, unless that happens, it certainly looks like that Aleister Black was fed to the feud between AJ Styles and The Undertaker. Was Aleister Black added to The Undertaker and AJ Styles feud? Of course not. So what did they do with Aleister Black? They gave him a irrelevant match with Bobby Lashley that should not even be on WrestleMania. It is the furthest thing from a WrestleMania match, period, empty arena or not. And I was right once again. It certainly looks like Aleister Black was fed to the AJ Styles and Undertaker feud. So where am I being negative? Is the negativity that you are looking at hidden in the truth that I spew? Where was I wrong? I'd love for you to tell me why you thought I was negative when, in the end, I ended up being right. Please, let me do my job. There's a reason why you're on the other side of the camera and why I'm in front of the microphone. When I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. Was I wrong here? Absolutely not. Next. Lashley, by the way, he was last seen on Raw squashing Zack Ryder on March 9th. No build. Do I care? Bathroom break? Absolutely. Now, speaking of Lashley and Black being on the WrestleMania card, this is going to be somewhat of a spoiler. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about WrestleMania. I think you're all in the same boat as me. That boat of, I just don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. JD, if you want to spoil it for me, please go ahead and spoil it for me. So I will give you guys about 5 seconds, and you can, I guess, fast forward maybe a minute and a half while I go through this card on WrestleMania. This is the existing card as of Saturday. This is the existing card for April 4 and April 5, WrestleMania 36 inside the Performance Center. So I'll give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that WWE plans 16 matches for WrestleMania 36. You could shave that in half, and it should be enough. 16 fucking matches? Vince has lost his fucking mind. Does it even resemble a WrestleMania? I don't think so. This is a glorified WWE Superstars taping. That's what it looks like to me. This is the exact card as it sits on Saturday. WWE Universal title. Goldberg versus Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship. Absolutely horrific main event for WrestleMania. That's not the main event of I don't give a fuck what you do. I don't give a shit what you do. That is not a match to close out any of the nights whatsoever. I'll tell you what. This is what you do. Night 1, you close out with Edge and Randy Orton. Night 2, you close out with Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar. That's it. If you got a problem with that, I don't give a shit. That's the way it should be. Goldberg and Braun Strowman for the Universal title? Bro, how is that something that you look at and say, man, I'm excited about that. That's a great replacement for Roman Reigns. How? I mentioned on the podcast yesterday, Matt Riddle, easy as fucking grandma's pie. Easy as Titus's macaroni and cheese. Easy. Slide them right in there. They got a history. It's fun. It's different. It's new. It's fresh. It makes sense. It makes sense. Why wouldn't you give me something out of the ordinary? Braun Strowman is generic. Braun Strowman is WWE's way. I said this yesterday, word for word. This is WWE's way of saying, hi, we concede, we give up. We have nothing else to do here. We want this to be over. This is WWE's way of saying, we're just throwing something out there for the sake of throwing something out there. We don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck. Matt Riddle. Other option I said is Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt could beat John Cena, make that a number 1 contenders match. The Fiend challenges Goldberg the same night, wins the title back in a squash-like manner. The way Goldberg squashed the Fiend in Saudi Arabia, boom. Done. Just put the title back on the original holder, someone who should have never lost the championship in the first place. Then you could maybe do something with Roman Reigns where the Fiend captures Roman Reigns and ties him up in the funhouse and lets him fucking sit amongst all the dolls and whatnot. Great way to build towards an inevitable feud when things get back to normal. Makes sense? It makes sense. The third option here is the one I would probably go with because it would lead to a Roman Reigns versus Keith Lee match. Keith Lee versus Goldberg would be a very fresh take, a very good take on something last minute. You know, it would push the boundaries of WWE's creativity. It would do something different. It would be outside the box, outside the norm. Keith Lee, Dominik Dijakovic, and Damian Priest, I believe, is taking place on Wednesday's NXT. If he loses the championship to either Priest or Dijakovic, why don't you throw him in there as a surprise? Have him come out on SmackDown. Boom. I challenge Bill Goldberg for the Universal Championship. I will take Roman's place. Or maybe Roman was so in the zone with Keith Lee. Maybe you could play up the fact that Roman handpicked Keith Lee because he was so impressed with what he did against him at the Survivor Series. I don't get it. I don't get why WWE can't. I'm sitting here working for free. You can give me the fucking pen and paper and I'll write a better WrestleMania that's being presented right now. Braun Strowman? Fucking Braun Strowman! My God! That's the Universal title. Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler, Raw Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, NXT Women's Championship. John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. The rumors are it's going to be a cinematic House of Horrors-like match. We'll see what happens and we'll see what that means. SmackDown Women's title, Bayley versus Lacey Evans versus Naomi versus Tamina. Still, I'm waiting for a logical explanation as to why she's even here. A, why she's even employed. B, why she's even allowed on a WrestleMania. Well, I guess if there's any WrestleMania that Tamina should be allowed on, it's this one because this isn't WrestleMania. And Sasha Banks. This is a SmackDown Women's title match. Not sure if it's elimination or not. We'll see what happens. Undertaker versus AJ Styles in what they are calling a boneyard match. Boneyard match. Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. SmackDown Tag Team title to be announced. It was supposed to be Miz and Morrison. Hey, hey. No, no. Because now the Miz is not going to be at WrestleMania. He's home in quarantine. It was supposed to be Miz and Morrison versus the winner of the New Day and the Usos on SmackDown. I don't know what is going to be. In fact, the Usos, I don't even think are going to be on WrestleMania. So, if that's the case, you might as well just have the rematch between Miz and Morrison and the New Day at some point. I don't know. At this point, I don't even have the tag team titles on the show. I really don't. What are you going to... Just give it to Heavy Machinery. Just give it to Heavy Machinery. Well, then again, The Miz can't be on the show. The Miz was pulled. So why don't you just take the titles... Take the titles from Miz and Morrison and make it a storyline and put the titles on the line in a triple threat match with the Usos, with the New Day, and Heavy Machinery. Simple. Or if you want, put the titles on the line with Heavy Machinery versus Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. Simple. That's what I would do. So right now, we don't have any idea what they're going to do, and I'm taping this on Friday, so... In the meantime, it's another 3 hours till SmackDown. We will find out on SmackDown what WWE plans to do with the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Raw Tag Team titles. The Street Profits versus Angel Garza and not Andrade. Not Andrade. Andrade is hurt. Andrade is now not appearing at WrestleMania. Why? Well... The report claims from PW Insider that Andrade is injured and is off the show. He looked fine to me on Monday Night Raw. What happened? Did he get injured during the tapings on the weekend? I don't know, but he's been replaced. The report claims that Andrade is dealing with an injury to his ribs. This is believed to be suffered on the most recent episode of Raw. On the show, Andrade and Angel Garza defeated Rick O'Shea and Cedric Alexander for their first win as a duo. As WrestleMania has already been taped, it has been confirmed that Andrade did not take part in his advertised match. He and Garza were supposed to take on the Street Profits for the Raw Tag Team Championships, but Andrade was replaced by someone from NXT. Now, this is where the spoiler comes in. This is where one of the spoilers comes in. Vince McMahon has been committed with moving forward with the WrestleMania tapings, with several names dropping off the show. Miz, the Usos, Roman Reigns, who else knows who else, Andrade, Rey Mysterio, Dana Brooke, all planned for WrestleMania, not there. Post Wrestling is reporting that NXT star Austin Theory has replaced Andrade in the match at WrestleMania, so it will be Garza and Austin Theory teaming up against the Street Profits. WWE shot an angle to explain the change that will air on Monday's Raw. I don't think, now granted they got something in place for Raw, I do not think WWE came up with a logical reason as to why this would make sense. It doesn't. It doesn't make sense. It's not gonna make sense. It will never make sense. This is just WWE taking another Band-Aid and putting it on a fucking wound that clearly will not heal. This does not make any sense. Austin Theory is clearly the guy. Austin Theory is going to be a megastar in this company. Vince took one look at Austin Theory and said, you know what, I want him on WrestleMania. I know for a fact, if you watched NXT this past Wednesday, Vince was there. He had his commentary team just spew Austin Theory's name over and over and over again. It became so nauseating to a point I started counting the times that Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips started mentioning the name Austin Theory on commentary in the most unorganic, unnatural way possible. That was being fed to them by Vince McMahon. And that tells me that Vince is incredibly over on Austin Theory already. He's going to be a megastar. How he fits into this, I don't think there is any logical reason behind this happening at all. Could have made it an even 14. Both tag team titles did not need to be on the line at WrestleMania. SmackDown already has Miz and Morrison off the show. So now that Andrade is not able to team with Garza, he might as well not even have any of the tag team title matches take place. Save them for the next live episode of Raw. It's not that big of a deal if you move the WrestleMania card from 16 matches to 14 matches. So that's that. Moving on with the rest of the show. Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley. Elias versus Baron Corbin. Sounds like a fucking shit episode of Monday Night Raw. And then obviously Edge and Randy Orton in a last man standing match. Now, there was a report going around that WWE was considering one match to close out one of the nights at WrestleMania. Now, WrestleVotes noted that a company source had told them not to be surprised to see Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler as the event, or the match, as the main event for the first night. It's not official, and based on how Vince McMahon feels during the tapings, things can certainly change. If Baszler versus Lynch headlines the first night, then it would seem more likely that one of the men's title matches will main event the second night of Mania. Now, that was clearly before Roman pulled out of WrestleMania and canceled his match with Goldberg. So, they are saying that don't be surprised if Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler main events night one, and then maybe we get, at the time it was supposed to be Goldberg and Roman Reigns main eventing night two. Now it might go from Baszler and Becky versus each other in the main event, and then we get Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar on night two. I don't think that's the right way to go about it. So while crowd reactions won't be an issue at this year's Mania, match quality might be a key to keeping the viewing audience tuned in. And according to WrestleVotes as well, it could make a difference in the order that the matches are shown on Saturday and Sunday. Worth noting, they say. This is far from official, and with Mania being pre-taped, theoretically, WWE could change the lineup of the matches as to how they appear on the show after they are taped. Quality could make a difference. This gives WWE all the power to edit out botches. If there's a botch or several botches, WWE could always edit it out. It's the one good thing about having it taped. Plus, they're going to go cinematic on some matches. Some matches are going to be filmed at other locations. It could still be a lot of fun if they plan to have these matches really stand out. Not giving them any benefit of the doubt. And Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch, telling you right now, does not deserve to be the main events on one of the nights at all at WrestleMania. The feud has sucked. The build has sucked. Becky has been a joke. Shayna Baszler has been cut down a little bit. By the way, Becky Lynch has been acting. They're now back on track, but it's too little too late. And why must we need to continue to push a women's agenda here on WWE television? We are long past that. This feud has meant nothing to Monday Night Raw. Nothing. It's been a minuscule part of Monday Night Raw. When you have Becky Lynch come out and share beers with Stone Cold Steve Austin, pretty much neglecting the fact that she's fighting one of the toughest women in all of WWE, one of the baddest women in all the company. When you have her coming out there with Steve Austin on 316 Day, drinking beers, making the match with Shayna seem like a fucking pushover, like a fucking joke. At that point, you think, well, this is not a main event match. This is certainly not a main event match in my eyes, in your eyes, in anybody's eyes. And if you think that, you're a fucking idiot. To be honest with you, a minuscule part of the show. What has been the most important thing on Monday Night Raw? Edge and Randy Orton. You main event that night one with Edge and Randy Orton. Simple. The other thing being that Goldberg and Braun Strowman is a fucking match pieced together with fucking duct tape at this point because Roman Reigns pulled out. Both of the nights will be main event by Monday Night Raw because they deserve it. Edge and Randy Orton, best storyline going into WrestleMania, just based off that aspect. It deserves the main event on one night. On night one. On night two, you give it to Drew McIntyre. This guy's worked his entire fucking life to get to this point. Wrestling for the WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar in his first main event of a quote-unquote WrestleMania. You give him night two. I don't give a fuck if it's in front of no fans. You're not going to take that role away from him. He deserves it. And, don't know if you guys remember, he won the Royal Rumble. By all means, he won the right to main events WrestleMania. That's what the winner of the Royal Rumble gets. Night one, Randy and Edge. Night two, Drew and Lesnar. No ifs, ands, or buts. If I see anything else, WWE is making this event worse than it already is. And how that's even fucking possible at this point is unknown to me. I don't know. Becky does not deserve any main event. When was the last time Becky was in a main event? Survivor Series, right? How did that go? That was a fucking colossal failure. And you're going to do it again? Shayna was in that match. How did that go? Nobody gave a fuck about that match. That match was in Chicago. Fell on deaf ears. Then you have Shayna show up in Brooklyn and she gets booed out of the building with chants of CM Punk and boring. Now you're going to put her in the main event on night one of WrestleMania against Becky Lynch. You're lucky that there's no fucking fans in attendance. But even at that point, it's still not WrestleMania worthy, main event worthy. But it is WrestleMania worthy. It's not main event worthy because of the way it was positioned on the show. It's a fucking afterthought. Be logical. Be smart. Put your fandom to the side and think rationally. Who deserves it more? It ain't Becky. It ain't Shayna. It ain't the women. I'm sorry. None of those women's matches deserve any type of main event treatment. Period. We're well beyond that. We're well past that. Stop with the fucking political bullshit. Moving on. WWE reportedly will have some random zany matches added to the WrestleMania card. This is according to PW Insider and Mike Johnson. His sources have stated that we should expect some more matches with no build added to the pay-per-view. Why? Why? I was told to expect more matches to WrestleMania, believe it or not. I was told to expect some random, sorta zany matches announced. That's what I was told earlier this week. So that's what he says via PW Insider. There is obviously no word on what these matches are going to be, but the following bouts have been rumored and have not been announced yet. Now, I'm recording this on Friday. It's 5:45 before SmackDown. Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan could be added because we got Nakamura versus Drew Gulak. And if Gulak wins, Daniel Bryan gets a shot at the IC title at WrestleMania against Sami Zayn. Then Morrison and Miz, obviously not going to be on the show. They were supposed to defend against the Usos. The Usos were supposed to beat the New Day tonight. And then Otis versus Dolph was apparently going to be added to the show. I don't even want Otis and Dolph added to the show because, like I mentioned on part one of the podcast this weekend, the crowd is 100% of the reason why this storyline should stop. You need the crowd. You're not going to have this storyline conclude with no fucking audience when the audience is the most important aspect of the entire feud. What are you, fucking mental? So, Wrestling Observer, Dave Meltzer, he's reiterated that Ziggler and Otis is going to be on the show. Now, I just read you the card. I just read you the updated 16-match card. Nothing about Otis and Dolph. This card seems to be constantly changing. We don't know what they have planned. We don't know what they have taped. Everything is a fucking just uncertain mess. We don't know. The only match there that I would even contemplate putting on out of these three is Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. And the fact that the tag team title match for SmackDown is not happening, there you can fit in another SmackDown match with Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan. Boom. Why is Elias versus Baron Corbin on the show? I don't fucking have any idea. I don't know who in that company thinks that is a WrestleMania-worthy match. But like I said about the women's match and why Tamina's on the fucking show, if there's any WrestleMania that match belongs on, it's this one. Because this isn't even WrestleMania at this juncture. So that's the random, zany matches that WWE could potentially be adding to WrestleMania's card. Huge spoiler on the face turn of one certain WWE superstar after WrestleMania. Dave Meltzer discussed the original plans for the SmackDown Women's Championship on the Wrestling Observer Live, and he noted it was supposed to be Sasha Banks versus Bayley in a singles match, but the match was pushed to a later date. Good? Good. You think they want to wrestle in this fucking mess? I don't think so. The change was made before the recent changes to the show. He says this, and I quote, "The gimmick is that Bayley is all mad about a six-way, but Sasha, who was supposed to be Bayley's best friend, was mad until her name was announced in the match." Meltzer then continued, and I quote, "The company wanted to do Bayley and Sasha at WrestleMania, and to their credit, given that there was no time to build it up, literally this came up a week or two ago." Really? Sasha and Bayley legitimately came up a week or two ago? Now, I don't know who is working SmackDown, but if that idea came up a week or two ago, I think everybody involved creatively on Bruce and his team should be removed immediately. Let me tell you something, Bruce. 2 weeks ago? Man, you must be way out to lunch. The fuck are you doing back there? 1 or 2 weeks ago. Are you fucking kidding me? Now I'm glad it's not happening, because they don't deserve anything of this show. They don't, that match, that feud, those two women don't belong one-on-one on this show ever. Ever. With the current state of that women's division, that is the only match out of that entire division that means anything. Why blow it off here? I guarantee you, Sasha and Bayley went to management and said, "We don't want to do this match. Now, please do anything else." And this is what they came up with. A fucking 6-pack challenge that then got, moved to a 5-way because Dana Brooke is now in quarantine. Oh my God, Dana Brooke's missing WrestleMania. Oh boy. Oh man, I'm going to go into massive depression. I'm glad. I guarantee you Sasha and Bayley went to Bruce and said, "Listen, bro, we don't want to do this match. Save it for when things get back to normal. This is the money match." And I explained this already on the podcast yesterday. If it's going to happen, Sasha needs to remain heel. Bayley needs to turn back into a babyface. I want to see the Hugger Bayley come back. I think it would be more over if Bayley was babyface and Sasha remained heel. Sasha plays a better heel than Bayley plays heel. So why would you take Sasha's strength away from her and leave Bayley hanging in a role that she really isn't playing well at all? It's okay. It's not great. I appreciate the effort, but WWE, like everything else, dropped the ball on what could have been a great fucking heel turn. Sasha needs to remain heel. And they know the match is special. They know what they want to do in the match before we even see it happen again. Those women, if I know anything about those women, they have what they want to do mentally to try and one-up themselves from the first takeover in Brooklyn. So give them the stage to do so. Give them the proper build to do so. If there's not going to be any draft and we're going to sit with the current state of the women's division the way it is on SmackDown, then those women need proper build. And it's legitimately the only match out of that division that means anything. Naomi, worthless. She's great, but she's worthless. She ain't legit in anybody's eyes, really. Lacey Evans, don't make me laugh. I'd rather see Bayley versus Lacey Evans' fucking handkerchief at WrestleMania instead of Lacey Evans herself. Dana Brooke, give me a fucking break, man. Plastic sporks and catering, please, Miss Brooke. Carmella, listen, she's gotten better. That match was Bayley was the best I've ever seen of Carmella, but she was in the ring with someone far superior than herself, and Bayley led that match all the way. But gotta give her credit, but she still ain't worth shit. And who else is there? Oh, Tamina. Forget about Tamina. Jesus Christ. I'd rather see this fucking Funko Pop of Negan in a match against Bayley than fucking Tamina Snuka. Give me a fucking break. You kidding me? My God, man. Unfucking real. So please, give it the proper build and keeping my fingers crossed that everything hopefully sooner rather than later goes back to normal and we can get back to normal life in WWE. Finally, guys, status on AEW's Double or Nothing. AEW is scheduled to hold their Double or Nothing pay-per-view event on May 23rd in Las Vegas, MGM Grand Garden Arena. The promotion is also saying that they will hold a live episode of Dynamite May 27th from the same venue, which will be the post-episode following Double or Nothing. AEW is yet to cancel or reschedule the second iteration of Double or Nothing. The status of the event is up in the air due to the outbreak. Dave Meltzer's report in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter that the promotion is delaying the announcement of whether the event will take place as scheduled or be postponed. They have a few options regarding the show. AEW could have the show with fans in attendance. Obviously, hopefully things get back to normal and we can be out in Las Vegas. Fans in attendance, hold the show from the same venue with no fans, or move the show to a different location without fans, or postpone the show to a completely different date. It was noted that right now, all of those calls are wait and see, and likely in the end will be out of Tony Khan's hands. It should be noted that the MGM Grand Arena is even closed until further notice. Just like all of Las Vegas is completely shut down. So I like that they haven't made an announcement on the show yet. They're giving it a wait and see type deal. Let's see how it plays out in April. I know Donald Trump, President Trump, wants everybody back to work the Monday following Easter. That's his timeline. Not sure if that's going to happen. I doubt that happens at all. That's wishful thinking, in my honest opinion, though I really, really hope so, just for the economy's sake. But I like the wait and see aspect instead of making a rash decision on canceling or postponing or moving the show to a later date. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen. More than likely, in my honest opinion, it may have to be postponed. They might be pushing everything back on the pay-per-view calendar. Don't know what Tony Khan is going to do. It's best right now, instead of making some rash decision, just leave it and let's see how everything happens. Things could get worse. Things could get better. We don't know. The uncertainty right now is driving everybody crazy, but the status of AEW Double or Nothing has not changed. They are making it a wait-and-see game for the big event out in Las Vegas. Thank you so much, guys. I'm getting out of here. If you enjoyed the podcast, let me know down below in the description. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. And if you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, you guys know how to certainly do that. Patreon.com/JDfromNY206. And today's podcast, as always, was brought to you guys by Audible. Check out Audible, 30 days free. And 30 days free, not only 30 days free, but one free audiobook of your choice. Make sure you guys go and check that out and get yourself a free audiobook on the house. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Again, thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all right back here with a brand new, dismal, abysmal, horrific, horrendous week of WWE television as we continue to chug along in what is now a cursed WrestleMania season. Until then, guys, I will see you all right back here on Monday Night Raw. See you guys then.